3.5. 3.5, babe.
All right. Good job. All right. All right. So this is Jacob, otherwise known as J-Jax. This is the first in a series where I play through Dragon's Dogma. So this is brand new game stuff. Yes, 100%. Proceed. I haven't beaten the game on this version, so I can't select hard mode. So I'm just going to stick with normal. This is the little tutorial segment. You play as an ancestor of yours, basically.
How dark it's gotten. Have you a light source? The dragon's roost is just beyond.
Is it? Hold on, let me mess with my controls real quick. There we go. That was difficult. Alright, let's see if I've got my controls all set.
We should hurry.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
We near our journey's end. The final station.
Alright, so
It shows itself.
here's the big old dragon. It's mean. It doesn't like people. I wish there was a way for me to change my display. Hold on. Activity. I'm not sure why, but the display is weird. That's fine. I mean, I know where my skills are anyway. And it does do a decent job of keeping them lined up somewhat. So these are pawns. Basically, these these ones are specific to the tutorial. But generally speaking, they will have been somebody that a character that someone else has made. In this game, you create your main character as well as a pawn. That pawn is can go basically play with other players and acquire quest knowledge and things of that nature. Alright. So this part's pretty straightforward. I don't even know if you keep the items from this part. Even if you do, it's not a big deal. I don't plan on using many of them. I've got a way that I handle healing items and things of that nature. So in the meantime, though, to anybody that's in chat, I've kind of been asking people what class they want me to play. There's a little bit of vote for Ranger and Magic Archer. There's a little bit of vote for Assassin. A little bit for Magic Knight, but I'm still kind of undecided. So in chat, feel free to weigh in your opinion. I'm kind of still up in the air. Of those classes, honestly, I would want to say the one that's the most just balls out powerful is probably the Magic Knight. Or the Magic Archer. But that's just because it's got, like, it can target spells and specific, like, it's just such a good, it's such a really powerful class. Alright. So just as important as how I operate my main character is going to be how I pick and manage my pawns. Your party in this game is not going to remain stable. The only other character that's going to be there throughout is your pawn. And we're gonna do a full party this time. I know there's a lot of challenge runs where you do solo or maybe just you and a pawn or something like that. But this is going to be a full party run. There's no gimmicks here. We're just gonna play it out. You know, we're not gonna skip anything. We're not gonna lame it out at all. I've got a decent amount of experience with this game. I've beaten it a number of times. So I know some of the tricks, and I might take advantage of some of them. But I'm not gonna totally lame out this game and gimmick the shit out of it like I have if I were trying to like speedrun it or something. Which I have done. I'm not like legit, you know, speedrunning, but I've done where there's a New Game Plus mode. So I have done runs that I planned on going quickly and just kind of run through exactly what I have to get. So you have two sets of skills. Right now I've got shield skills, which are these: symbol attack, shield strike, things of that nature. Shield summons, which is like a taunt. And then I've got sword skills, which is blink strike, which is amazing. Hindsight slash, which is also amazing. Skyward lash. Just things that give you a little bit more variety, a little more options when you're dealing with enemies. Combat in this game is very, very dynamic. It doesn't feel like a traditional RPG. It's not slow and methodical. It is very fast-paced. There is one combat mechanic that you're about to see that I haven't really touched on, and that is the grip. You're climbing. So this guy, this is a Chimera. Big old rude boy boss. And I'm going to deal with him the way I want to deal with many bosses. By climbing on him. That's so I can climb on him and slash on it while I'm holding on to the snake tail or something. And so see, if you'll notice, there's a special bar where I'm damaging specifically the snake tail, and I've cut the snake tail off. So now obviously that element of its attack is disabled. And pretty much every monster works that way. I mean, you find a gargoyle, you climb up on its back and stab it in the eye a bunch of times, you're not going to be able to see it. I'm going to go for this goat head right now. It'll knock me off. The goat head is the one in this particular case that casts magic. The goat's silent, so now it's just the lion. Alright. So it's pretty standard up until this point, or past this point. I mean, there's not a whole lot of... I can obviously continue to mount this monster. And I probably will. You know, this is kind of... It's kind of funny when the whole party, like, mounts a monster. You can change the AI of your pawn. And you can tell it, you know, you want it to mount monsters, you want it to stay back and support, you want it to focus on healing, things of that nature. And it's really kind of funny when you consequently end up with a party that all just wants to mount the monster. You end up with this huge group of people just climbing all over the back of this thing and murdering it, which ends up being a lot more funny than a lot of the more traditional ways to take down a monster. Countless lifetimes come to pass. This is basically, really, this game is the story of that dragon, honestly. The useless occupation. So this is the dragon's return to the world. I'll just let it play out. I'm not going to interrupt. I apologize. So cool. All right. Okay, so what is it going to say? You pick a name in game, and then you pick something that that would show up if online. We're just going to go with Jacob. So in this game, your height and your weight matter. If you are a lighter character, it consumes less stamina for you to climb onto a monster. If you're a smaller character, you have less reach on your attacks. I mean, there is definitely a reason to make a character that seems fitting with your build. I am probably, because I haven't received much feedback outside of the way of this, gonna go with, I think I should do Mystic Knight, Mystic Archer. I'm probably gonna go with the Mystic Knight. Just because of all the things that had a vote towards it, that's my favorite class to play. But I don't want to be like super big. I'm gonna try to clamber around, and I'm gonna try to do some climbing on enemies. Yeah, let's do that voice. Let's make some detailed edits. This guy needs to be ours. We want kind of like this long scraggly hair. That's not bad. This isn't terrible either. I'm not going to mess with the super detailed stuff. Stature. Slim. Skin color's fine. Height's fine. Musculature. We're going to be a little bit more muscly than that, but not... Yeah, this all looks fine. As far as stance, posture. A little bit. There we go. Now this is the important part. The face stuff. We'll do the cool superhero anime scar. Why not? Over the eyes. Let's do a big old beard too. As you may or may not have assumed, I'm a bit partial to a big beard, so let's do that. Color adjustment for hair. Let's make it a little darker. There we go. There's our boy right there. Yeah? Like this? Isn't the guy pretty cool looking? Think I should grow my hair out like that? No, not like this? Okay. I'm ready to play. So if we're playing the Mystic Knight, I'm definitely going to want to pick... though actually, I'll go into a brief layout of how the classes work. There are 3 basic classes. The Strider, the Mage, and the Fighter. Fighter, sword and shield. Strider is 2 daggers and a bow. And the Mage is a staff. Excuse me. What class you get can determine what skills you use later. For example, if you are a fighter, you can learn shield skills, and then if you become a magic knight, you can use those shield skills later, to a degree. Not exactly that magic knight to fighter, but you get what I'm saying. If you learn how to use a shield, you remain how to use a shield when you change classes. And your classes in this game are fluid. You can change them at any point. And you gain levels as well as vocation levels. So you become a better knight as opposed to just... And a stronger character separately. So if I'm a really good knight, I can switch to a ranger later, buy myself a nice bow, and be a pretty decent ranger. The only difference is I wouldn't have a lot of ranger-specific skills. But I'm going to let this intro rock a little bit more. And I'll go into advanced classes once it really matters. Because right now it does not. Dargan. Come here, girl. Alright. So the guards are wusses. They're bugging out. My character, not so much a wuss. Yes, actually. More. That is the final boss. And you have the opportunity to kill him right now. Spoiler alert, it is an unwinnable fight. After you deal enough damage, a cutscene plays. So either you deal enough damage to him, or he deals enough damage to you. Cutscene plays out, game goes on as you expected. That having been said, I always try to give this guy a little bit of hell. Go straight for his heart. Yeah. Get his feet. So I know no skills at all. Ugh. Get him in the belly. So I just dealt damage to him. I didn't take any damage. Cue the cutscene. So in this game, dragons are very, very smart. They're more along the lines of Dungeons and Dragons, where they're unbelievably intelligent. So they're usually very gifted with magic and things like that. In addition to just how badass they are physically. You're about to see a little bit of that. So our wound is closing up. The dragon is consuming our heart, yet we remain alive. What the dragon has done is link the two of us, us and it. The dragons in this game are well nigh on immortal, and they kind of all crave final death. And so, basically, he noticed our bravery. He noticed that we fought him despite impossible odds, and we confronted him. And instead of just killing us, he said, maybe this guy can be the one that kills me. He performs a linking ceremony, a spell, if you will, meaning that is now our purpose. Our life is functionally forfeit. We no longer have a pulse. We no longer have a reason for existing. Yeah. He speaks to us now through this scar, and we are driven to combat him.
Take up arms,
I thought you had half a vote for Magic Archer, Charlie. Because if you have half a vote for Ranger and half a vote for Magic Archer, that puts Magic Archer at 1.5. And that puts it at the winner. Because now... Alright, so this is where I choose my class. So, as of right now, Longbow full vote. I'm probably... Here's my logic. Charlie wants to see a bow. Lauren wants to see some kind of fighter, magic, whatever, hybrid. Moore wants to see a magic archer. And I'm thinking that magic archer is the only one that might almost please everybody. Lauren will get her taste of magic-infused melee, or magic-infused weaponry. Charlie will get his taste of large arrow fire. And Moore will get to see the magic archer, which was his vote initially. Is this an outcome you can agree with, Lauren? You guess? It says I've got 5 viewers. What does the chat want to see? I've got 5 viewers in here. Do we want to see Solo in the chat? I'll start with the Strider because they're the ones that give the bow skills anyway. Moore's all in on the magic archer still. I'm gonna start with Strider. So basically, here are my daggers. Here's my bow. No longer have No longer have access to a shield or anything like that.
It left a glowing scar.
Yes, the wound has closed.
Keep in mind,
The worst has passed.
nothing is set in stone. All I've picked is my basic vocation. It is 100% possible and totally doable to switch classes. I could be a knight by the time I get to the point where I can switch. I will probably, honestly, get to that quest line, and I probably won't even get to the point where I can become a magic archer by the time the stream ends, because it's a ways into the game when you pick your advanced vocation. There's a couple quests in particular that are extremely obnoxious that you have to do that take a lot of time. That having been said, this is a really fun class to play. Alright. I could still go full mage, yes. The thing is, Charlie, your character level and your vocation level, your vocation is your class. Your character level and your vocation level are separated. So let's say I level up a full-on balls-out archer. I can go and switch to a full mage at any point. I won't have access to a lot of spells. I will get those later, but I spend my job experience on spells. So honestly, and since there's a new game plus mode, how I've done it in the past is I'll do a playthrough of one thing, and then I'll do the opening cutscene with all my godlike gear, and then as soon as I get to the town, I'll just switch to something else and start fresh from that. So my stats won't really change. It'll just be what kind of armor that I can wear effectively and things like that. So I actually played most of this game whenever I worked overnights. It was a really good offline game. I played a ton of New Game Plus. I probably did, on one character, probably 6 playthroughs with different classes. These are the notice boards. These give you, These give you basic quests. Kill some goblins, kill some rabbits, kill some mice, things like that. Those are your boiler pan quests. Manage my stored items. So you start with a bunch of items. Not a bunch, I guess, I would say. The purpose of many of these items, honestly, is to sell. Not all of them. The Daggerous Ring I'm going to keep. Lion Spire I'm going to keep. I think it's the Wavering Cloth I'm going to keep. Maybe Vagabond Armor. Let's grab both. Sell the one I don't want. The reason they give you this in the version of this game, the Dark Arisen, because it comes complete with the DLC. The DLC you can access from the beginning of the game. And the thought is you have the option of doing so. Okay, so this is just objectively better. My pants. Okay, so this is the equipment I have thus far. I definitely am going to upgrade this. This is definitely not where I'm going to end. Okay, so I'm going to sell. Work table. The Tiara of Enlightenment I'm going to keep. Pleb shirt. I'm gonna keep. I'll keep the green Warish because that's your baseline consumable. Here's the big selling item right here, the Ruminator's Monocle. It's a not very good item. It's just a bad item. But it sells for a ton. So like I just made $300,000. Now that seems absurd. Given what I'm dealing with now, I assure you that's not a lot in the grand scheme of things. That gives me just enough to buy some gear, and as much as I would feel like we would just be set for life, we really aren't. Looking for the worker pants. I want the shoulder cape. Change my equipment. New weapons. Tiara. So our character looks kind of dumb, honestly. I might just switch it up to this because, God, that's such a huge loss in armor, though. Yeah, we're going to do this. Our character looks kind of stupid now. That will change.
I only wish I had more.
So let's get rid of all this old stuff. Carrying weight, much like a lot of things in this game, definitely matters. Your weight, as well as the weight of the stuff you're carrying, determines your stamina usage whenever you're climbing on a monster. So there's a big ass monster mess and I'm trying to climb up on him and damage him. If I have a bunch of stuff in my pockets, I'm going to find that substantially more difficult. So I'm going to try to keep my weight at very light, or light. Probably be impossible to stay at very light the whole game and be effective, but at least light. That's the pawn's mark. All the pawns have that on their palm. It's part of being the Arisen means that pawns will follow your every command.
That man you were speaking with.
Pawns are kind of people that they're not people necessarily. They're humanoid, but they have no thoughts or intuition of their own. They simply exist to follow the orders of the Arisen.
Come from some unknown place. Just appear without a warning.
They're a strange lot.
Not human, quite. They look the part, sure enough, but they lack the will, the spark, what drives us. They have no capacity to feel nor act alone, so they live as sellswords.
Myrmidons, they're called.
There's an encampment west of the village where men gather to face the dragon. I'd wager a fair number of his kind will be there as well. Why don't you take him? Might be you learn aught of why he came to you in the first place.
So, one of the first things I want to do in this part is there's a number of little side quests in this beginning area that you can do right out of the gate. And I like to knock those out of the way just because they help you get some vocation levels. They help you get some, just some stuff that can give you a couple skills that will really help you get through the start of the game effectively.
Try not to be too much of a bother. 'Tis selfish to beg a favor in such times, I know. But there is aught I would ask your help in. Might we speak a moment? My thanks. 'Tis a sensitive matter. I would ask your discretion. In the wake of the dragon's coming, many of the villagers have come to offer prayers. As a novice and a newcomer, I welcome the chance to be of use, but my scriptures are missing.
How's the volume for in-game stuff looking? Can you guys hear him talking clearly? I know that I'm coming in clear, but are these NPCs coming in clear and the music? I don't want it to obviously overpower me, but ideally you should be able to hear that when I'm quiet.
If you come upon, pray see them.
And then when I talk, it shouldn't be overwhelming. So this guy wants us to find his... It's real quiet? Okay. I will turn up the... Oh, it's already up. I will turn up the volume a little bit. 1 second. All right, it should come in a little louder now. So we want to find this guy's scripture. These yellow exclamation points, they usually offer quest hints.
'Twas me. I confess it. I took the father's book from the chapel. I tried to go back and find the book, but I was in such a panic as I ran. I just wanted to look at it. Just curious is all. Forgive me. I cannot remember where I lost it. I got to steal a glance and then return it.
So
The
this
dragon
kid
came and
should be coming in a good deal louder.
I dropped it as I ran. Cor, what am I...
So we know this kid took it and doesn't know where he left it. Dropped it whenever the dragon came. I know it's on one of these rooftops, but I can honestly never remember which. Rook is just picking up all kinds of stuff. I'm gonna go check on up here as well again. Oh, here it is. I'm smart. So yeah, it's just stupid little quests like this that you would probably miss if you went straight to the story stuff. But these experience points, although they seem inconsequential, help you quite a bit in starting the game. The blue is turning in the quest.
But now. The scriptures. You found them.
I didn't mean to skip that text earlier. I'm going to try to let most of the text rock.
Truly, the people of Tacitus are a good-hearted bunch. Now I can once more offer proper prayer on behalf of the village. But I have dallied long enough. There is work for me to do.
And so yeah, that's a character level. That means that I am always more health, more stamina, more base stats, regardless of equipment or class. So I am no better of a rogue or a strider than I was 5 minutes ago. However, my character is stronger.
I'd craft dressings for the wounded had I the makings. If only I'd known, 'cause I need a favor. Can you fetch the flowers I need from outside the village? I need more of the one you see there, and one other sort besides. The more you can find, the better.
The more you can find, the better. Okay. So she's going to need 5 of the sun bloom or whatever they're called. And... what's that? Yeah, 5 sun bright. And then a moon glow. Is it plugged in?
To the encampment.
In the meantime, though, I'm going to try to dip into my side quests, which are basically just kill rabbits, kill goblins, things like that. Oh, I got one. Cool. There we go. So I succeeded in that quest to kill 5 rabbits. Now there's goblins. Sunbright. 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 The reason my weapons are glowing is that one of the spells that Rook can cast enchants my weapons with fire. It's pretty nice. Quite the fighter, eh?
I'm called Reynard, a traveling salesman. though those damnable beasts ruined my wares. But thanks to you, it was only wares I lost. I'll consider it a bargain. You have my thanks.
So he gave me a cape. I said better than what I've got. It's neutral, but I prefer it look-wise. Alright, cool. We can still get... We can still go for some of those sun brights. I think there's a couple around trees around here. 10 XP is 10 XP, you know. Gotta keep my mind to the character growth. Ooh, my stamina's low. I've just been sprinting willy-nilly without thinking about the consequences. Oh, more goblins.
Careful! A goblin!
That little fire thing is a fire enchantment. As soon as it catches me, it's going to activate.
Goblin!
And then... Oh, is it not going to catch me? Lame. I didn't know if it was unlimited duration, actually. Wow. This guy's not a very good shot. I don't know if that's that gets better at all. So I've got the Sunbright. So you inflict status elements, status ailments after dealing a decent amount of damage using that status effect. So if you notice, that first arrow, despite the fact it was on fire, didn't light the goblin on fire. It just hit him and dealt damage. When you hit somebody in a critical hit spot, and in the goblin's case it's their head, you have a greater chance of inflicting that status ailment, which is why after that second shot he lit up. So let's double check that we've done everything we can want to do here. We need 3 more goblins, which we'll get eventually. We won't get the bandits right away. Won't get the mice. Yeah, so let's deliver the flowers. And the next flower that we need to get is Moonglow, and that's 100% exclusively at night that you can find it. If you ask around town, people will normally help you find the Moonglow. I skipped that again. I'm so sorry.
Oh, brought the rest of them, have you? My thanks, cousin. All that remains is to find some Moonglow. A pinch mixed with these will make a fine medicine.
Okay, so the best way to advance day to night, is just probably to sleep at the inn. There's no additional quests to take on.
And you come. What can I do you for? You seem tired, cousin. So be.
What that tip means, that's an interesting tip. If you come to an impasse in a quest, set it as your priority to ensure you receive helpful hints and information. When I get the opportunity to make my own pawn, and I will here shortly, whenever I have the opportunity to make my own pawn, other players online playing through the game can summon my pawn. And the quest that they take my pawn on
To the encampment.
teach my pawn how to do the quest, for lack of better terms. So if you can go into a dungeon, for example, that your pawn is already done in somebody else's game, and they'll say, oh, well, we should look out for traps. You know, because they already know there's a trap there. Because they've done the dungeon before. And you get that kind of information. And so whenever you set something as your primary quest, that clues in your pawns to say, hey, if you know anything, let me know. And they will. They definitely will. I mean, these pawns are pretty talkative, often to a fault. You get little side quests for these things, like little
advantage.
I like how he says they hold the advantage, but 80% of them are on fire and just running around aimlessly. And the only one who's not on fire... Oh, I guess there's two that are on fire. The only two that aren't on fire are either getting chopped up or have a bunch of arrows in their face. So that level in the upper right, that vocation rank increase, that means that I'm a more accomplished strider, specifically. And so what that means is when I go to an inn, I can opt to learn better strider skills. It doesn't necessarily mean I'm doing any more damage. It doesn't necessarily mean that my skills are stronger. Simply that I have the opportunity to learn how to do new strider things. So you really can multi-class somewhat efficiently in this game. You are hardly stuck to the same class. That blue flower up there, that's that moon glow that we're looking for. If you were to talk to the townsfolk, they would tell you to look in the crags and the rocks and to look for the bright blue flower. So we've just completed the goblin's quest as well as the flower. So we're going to turn this in, and then we'll rest until morning. And with all this experience under our belt, then we're going to start working on the actual quest lines. They're going to unlock some more side quests, and we're just going to kind of keep following that loop.
The wounded need medicine, cousin. Pray bring the flowers for the compound quick as you can. The mixture calls for 2 types of flowers. Speak to the others for more word on that.
So, if you couldn't find it, this is her hint to tell you to speak to other people.
I ask you this favor because I trust you, good fisher.
This is the part of the game where they are teaching you that if you're having trouble with the quest, if you're having difficulty finding what you need to be finding, just ask around. A lot of townspeople are given a little bit of information in order to push you forward a little bit. It's not rare to be, or it's not uncommon to be stuck on a quest and to find a random townsperson that just knows a little bit about it and is willing to share that information for you.
I'll get to work directly. With luck, we'll have everyone back to health ere long. 'Tis your doing, cousin. I fear there's little I can offer you in thanks. Save this. Pray, take it. Now, to make some medicine.
She's going to give me a few curatives, I believe. The green wars, yeah. So, yeah, that's level 5. So, if you notice, my hit points have already increased by quite a bit. I think they started out at 450, and now they're at 530, and that persists throughout my class choices. So, mice and bandits. These are both things that we can't do until a little bit later.
To the encampment. This path should see us there.
We're not going to run into any bandits, despite the fact that I would kind of like us to. Simply because that would give us a head start on that bandit's quest. But at night, we are much more likely to run into enemies. So there's always kind of a benefit to traveling at night when you consider that the more fights you're in, the stronger you become. You know, there's 2 schools of thought. You can either travel at night when it's difficult and fight a lot of stuff, or you can travel during the day and it's a more straightforward experience. In this particular instance, we're traveling at night to kind of set up a fight later. Or to set up a quest later that I'll go into when it comes up.
This road will have us to the encampment ere much longer. We've arrived, Master.
Well, Master, here you hear our voice.
way, master. Follow me.
I know the way, master. Follow me. So now I need to decide what to make my pawn. Oh, that was a mistake. That was a mistake. I just meant to talk to that guy, but it turns out I slashed him with a knife.
We speak to you from across great distance.
That's a shame. That is a shame. He's an important NPC for now.
Pray, forgive this strange and impersonal greeting. This rift serves as a gate. It connects our kind to your world. It opens to the Arisen. For they possess a will powerful enough to guide the Legion. If you would claim to be among the Arisen, prove the strength of your resolve. Very well. Then we shall guide you in your trial. If you are an Arisen in truth, this humble task will prove no obstacle. The Arisen must possess the valor to stand against all threats, and the power to quell them. A tireless spirit of self-improvement grants the strength to lead the Legion.
Pray, show it
Show it
now.
now.
Alright. This guy has just left. I'm so sorry, dude.
Strange power emanates from within.
Hello. I fear we cannot yet join a covenant.
So this is a pawn. You can tell because, let's see, there's like a name and a level.
I fear we
This is a player-created pawn, and because I haven't completed the test yet,
beast comes! Hurry!
I cannot enter in covenant. So I can just find pawns on the street and enter in a covenant with them, or there's another way that I can meet pawns to enter in covenant that will become apparent here shortly. So here is the ogre. He's kind of a big, tough badass. That having been said, he has a pretty defined weakness, and that is the fact that he has one eye. Oh. So I've done enough damage to light him on fire, as well as just severely upset him. So because I didn't jump off of him early enough, I am out of stamina. So I am taking some pretty huge hits right now. But provided I stay within this little healing cloud, I should be just fine. You see, I hit him in the eye, and he's staggered now, wiping his eye off. Move your hand. I got him in the eye again. Yeah, and there's that little tidbit too, is the truth. It can't move if there's somebody on its leg. So there's a bunch of strategies. You don't deal a ton of damage if you're on its leg, but let's say, you know, a fighter in a party with 2 strong range DPS crawls on its leg, it now is immobilized or something to that effect. So there's a lot of ways to go about your combat strategies. So now I need to decide what kind of character I want to make my pawn.
Set out from here and we'll be on the path to Grand Soren.
If I am a magic archer, then I'm going to have absurd amount of range DPS, which means I kind of want my pawn to be somewhat tanky. But I'm also debating
Shall we search the area?
the idea of having a sorcerer as a pawn and just having it throw huge magic. Magic in this game is very, very grand, very, very huge. It's pretty awesome.
Have all you need? We are in first. We can see.
Okay, cool. I'm glad this guy doesn't hate me. So, when you learn skills, I have access to this skill because I am level 2. In the discipline, you get discipline whenever you kill enemies, or rather rank 2 as a strider. So these are all the abilities I've unlocked. These augments are passive. This enables you to clamber up terrains more quickly. That includes monsters. Extends the limit of stamina. These are things that I can apply to anybody. So for example, I could become a mage and I could just have extra stamina if I got it while I was here. So becoming a thief or becoming a strider can actually benefit other classes, many other classes, because mages cast spells with stamina, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I believe they use stamina to cast spells. So so anything is growth towards everything. And you can specialize, but ultimately the characters that do really well are the ones that kind of mix up multiple classes. The end game absolute badass characters have augments from a lot of different classes that really kind of combine to make these super huge badass characters. It is a very dynamic and very responsive class system to how you want to play in the moment. Definitely does not favor specialization. So I am probably... I only have 935, so I don't have much. I like the skill Biting Wind very well, or very much, so I'm gonna get this. Triad shot, 3 arrows in a wedge pattern. If you look in the bottom, where it describes it, it tells you what classes it can be used by. The 3 swords, I believe, is the assassin, and the two daggers is the strider. So the assassin or the strider are the only ones that can use triad shot. Cloudburst volley is just the strider. These do not have, if you notice, these don't have specializations. This one is just anybody with a dagger. So let's do... Roundelight. So this is just a combat ability. Let's just get the stamina extension. And so now we get to set our skills. So this, I'll set this as Scarlet Kisses where it's been, and this is Biting Wind. And this is Threefold Arrow. So okay.
What will it be today? Have your pick.
So that's how classes work. You spend augments and skills. Skills and augments must be enabled. So now you could say that I'm a stronger thief. But ultimately, everything is a little bit stronger now as a result of my time spent as a thief or a strider. So that test is complete.
With that, your trial is complete.
Yeah, there we go.
You are the arisen in truth, proven beyond any doubt.
Lauren, do you want to be a big
I
fighter?
make you select a companion
You want to be a
for the
powerful
journey ahead.
wizard? You want to be a fighter? Okay.
They shall
What would you prefer to be?
And you alone,
Well, I mean, like, if you were given the choice between...
and aid you in every endeavor.
You can't be any of the hybrid vocations. You can only be the fighter, the two-handed fighter, the archer, the ranger. You could be that ranger that Charlie wanted. Or you could be a mage or a sorcerer. Those 6. You want a big-ass two-hander? Sword and shield?
Did you redo?
I wish. But you can sword and board.
Big sword.
You want a single big sword. Alright. What name will the people online see? Lauren is not a name you can pick. That's so crazy. Doubtful, but we can check. For those of you who don't know, and you might see this when I play multiplayer games, I plan on including Lauren quite a bit. She's got a lot of schoolwork going on right now. Lauren is my girlfriend, in case you're curious. I plan on including her in a lot of co-op games. She's a gamer herself. In the future, I plan on streaming a lot of co-op, uploading it to the tube, and her handle is Hot Cocoa. Hilda, we've got to vote for Hilda. Do you oppose? Lauren said Lauren's all in on Hilda. Your name in our game is Lauren. I will see Lauren. However, if anybody else goes to summon you in the wide, wide world of the internet, they will see Hilda the Fighter. That is very close to Helga. You're right. So, you do a big old fighter. So, as a fighter, we're going to want you to have some decent range on your attacks. So, we're going to want you to be somewhat taller. This is a good baseline. We can go from here. It's trying to be difficult now. So I guess that works. Hairstyle. The fat one. That would be a really burly fighter and probably terrifying. She would have no stamina though. Any particular hairstyle you prefer? A little dreadlock action? Pigtails? How about just a ponytail? I'm sorry, I'm interrupting her working on her paper. I should probably just do this. It's pretty tall. The shoulders on her bust size, the biggest boobs the game can manage. Yeah. Come here. I said, do you want the biggest boobs the game can manage? Her response is, that's it? Yes, that is unfortunately the biggest boobs the game can handle. I can have you stick your chest out so I can give you an imposing stance. Because that looks like you're trying too hard. Do you like this one? And I can make it ladylike where you kind of cross your feet a little bit. Or you can be super macho. Alright, alright. Moore says imposing. That is Hilda in a nutshell. This looks like a Hilda. You look like you have an accent, like a Russian accent. Would you just growl? So we can put some makeup on you, but it has to be light, because Hilda wouldn't wear makeup. Just some...
Hilda would smear charcoal on her eyes.
Alright. Lauren says Hilda would smear charcoal on her eyes, and that's her form of makeup. Would you like any scars or anything? All of them? Well, we can only have one. We can give you some scars on your arms from training.
Facial scars.
Facial scars? Big facial scratch from like a monster. Maybe like that's just a beauty mark. That's dumb. Freckles, a bunch of scars. Moore says, Hilda fucks you, not the other way around. The big one right across the face. This is the one you want? So Hilda is a seasoned warrior. Many, many battles under her belt. Confirm. Continue. Alright, so this is I am going to ask you a series of questions. And I am going to need you to answer them. I'm sorry. This is the last I'll ask of you, and then you can get back to your essay. When faced with danger, which trait would you most value? Oh, this is for me about you, but you're going to answer. An iron will, quick thinking, careful preparation, the charisma to lead others. I know. But which one? Careful preparation? Okay. When in battle, which strategy would you prefer to employ? Kill all enemies? Rescue comrades in danger? Strike the strongest foes? Or call for reinforcements?
Kill all enemies.
I don't even know why I asked you this one. Your follower rescues your party and turns the... Oh, you. So, Lauren, you rescue the party and turn the tide of the entire battle. What would you have them say? This way, Master. Leave them to me. Now, Master. Strike the final blow. Quickly after them. What would you say?
Leave them to me.
Leave them to me. As a ruler, which gift would please you the most? A magic potion to preserve youth? A brave and stressed hero to succeed you? The perfect spouse? Or the majestic white steed?
Magic potion.
A magic potion to preserve youth. All right. And Lauren is a fighter. I know, right? Moore's given all these answers, and Lauren's not agreeing with a single one of them. With the minor exception of leave them to me. Lauren says, go home, I've got these assholes. Well, Moore, you're helping me make my character. The pawn that I'm going to make, that's Lauren. You're...
Our fealty is sworn to you.
So I wanted to...
From this day, the Legion's men call pawns.
I'm going to consult chat when I make my decisions about me. But I'm going to let her manage this character. This isn't fair. This time tomorrow I'm going to be a magic archer more. Then what's going to be fair, huh? Yeah. Okay.
The rift represents the bond between Pawn and Arisen.
Ah, Emma, you'll be quite the force on the day you learn to fight as one. Mind you, that is a skill better honed in practice than in the heat of mortal combat. I can help in that regard, should you wish it.
Yeah, this guy's going to give us a little bit of combat training. Now, this is harder to do at night, but it's entirely doable. Okay.
The men of the Enlistment Corps never turn away the eager. We are ready to begin. Are you? Let me be clear from the outset. I'm a harsh master. Whoever the pupil, you'll complete 3 forms of training in sequence. Each serves to hone a different quality.
You'll need more than raw muscle here.
If you find a task too difficult to manage, you might
Basically, the lesson here that I'm supposed to be taking is you can always reorganize your party. The only thing that is 100% guaranteed is you. You don't even really need to keep your pawn.
There are other pawns here. You can choose among them
if you find that, you know, there's an enemy that's just wiping your party every time, maybe swap out an archer for a mage, see if magic is going to do a little better. It's something like that.
You're free to choose your company, but many hands lighten any load, as they say. Now, get to it. We'll begin as soon as you're prepared. Just your task is to haul all of the freight before my count ends. Get to it.
So this is an interesting task because it's impossible to do solo. You simply don't have enough time, no matter how you do it. You need to take all these boxes, all 4 of them, and move them to a specific location. It's just a circle, probably 10 feet away. That having been said, it's damn near impossible to do without the assistance of your pawns. So those pawns went and got the first 2. I generally like to take this one and throw it, and then grab this guy.
deadline draws near, sir. We must hurry. There's no time.
Enough! Well done. Meet each challenge with that vigor, and you'll make for a fine warrior afore long.
Before long.
Next is combat training. You'll face my Scarecrow army here. Destroy them before my count ends. A large group will be of help again, but you must choose your companions wisely. A company all doing the same thing is less.
This is to teach you that you know, 4 warriors, although badass, would have a lot of trouble with certain enemies. And you'll see just exactly what he means there. Like there are things right in front of me that I'm just kind of neglecting to attack, simply by virtue of the fact that I can clear up the ones further out. If you notice, Lauren went over and went absolutely apeshit on those 3 over there. The wizard got the ones in front of me, and I got the ones further out.
Right then. Finally, you'll be destroying more scarecrows, but don't expect a repeat of the last. There are 2 sorts of scarecrow, each with its own weakness. One falls only to steel and brute force, the other only to magic. If you're not mindful of how you attack them, you'll fail.
So this quest is deceitful,
your party and your tactics
because the ones that fall to magic also fall to physical blows. It just takes them longer. So, like for example, that's a magic. See, Lauren just killed that magic one, and so it's somewhat deceitful. This is a quest that can kind of catch you off guard. So I think that's all of them. Yeah.
That's the fastest I've ever seen it done. And on a task fit to challenge even a
Fastest he's ever seen it done, he says. Look at him clapping too. He's dinosaur hands. That's little T-Rex arms.
Thank you.
Well done.
Yeah. You went apeshit, Lauren. Good job.
Well selected partners can make. Yes, no doubt. No doubt.
So how I prefer to structure my party is I like to have a warrior, like a tanky fighter. I like to have a healer specifically, like a mage that casts primarily heals, a mage that casts primarily damage, and some sort of secondary damage. That secondary damage is going to be me. Despite the fact that I actually might swap out the damaging mage for my character. I don't really know exactly how a magic archer is going to fit in the party. It's going to be interesting.
What's this?
Because I do want to keep my damage somewhat varied. There are monsters that just shrug off magic. There are also monsters that just beat the shit out of physical damage too. So now I'm going to manage stored items, change equipment, and now I can change Lauren's equipment. If you'll notice, I can't change any of the pawn's equipment because they simply can't be modified. I'm actually going to give... Hold on. I'm going to give Lauren the heavier armor.
What will it be today?
Give to J-Jax. So Lauren's going to have a bit thicker of equipment. Also, that breastplate does seem to highlight your chest better. Excellent. So you can... I guess you can give your pawns equipment. And they will wear them. However, The pawns don't gain experience, and they cannot level up.
What will it be today? Have your pick.
Okay, learner set skills. Let's manage Lauren's skills real quick. She's eventually going to be a two-handed sword user. So we're actually going to save her discipline points, because all we would really want for her are these augments. And it actually costs discipline to switch classes the first time. So we actually want to save her points, because she's not going to be using this same weapon type very shortly. We're going to go back also to Cassardus, the starting town. There's going to be a couple more side quests that we can pick up. And we can also use our bunch of gold to buy Lauren some gear. New area has been unlocked. So this is the DLC. This is why they give you all that gold to start with. Because I could choose to go to the DLC right now. And the DLC is balanced for the end game. I'm going to give this thing to Lauren. She will remember to keep it out. But the I always forget to have my lantern out. But the DLC is balanced for endgame, regardless of when you enter it. Meaning that if I were to go into it now, I would just get my ass kicked. There's really no way to dance around that point. I would just get the shit kicked out of me. That having been said, there are like challenge runs and stuff that you can do that I have done, where you go straight into the DLC right out of the gate, using some of the items that you can buy there, and it's a very challenging, not really particularly rewarding experience. I've done it. I've tried it one time. Wasn't amazing. Probably won't do it again, honestly. But I would like to play the DLC at the end of the main campaign, where it is balanced. Because it is interesting. A lot of very, very difficult enemies. It really is an endgame challenge. I mean, when I played it once at the end of the game when it belonged, and the first enemy, I mean the first boss, really, really gave me a lot of trouble, and it was extremely difficult. So there's always that after the main story.
To lead the pawns in quest to slay the dragon. Those equivocal husks. Will or nill, the Arisen is always drawn to the dragon, as puppets strung in fate's own thread. Many have come before you, eager to stand tall atop the grand capstone of worldly truth that is the dragon. Arrogance. The dragon is ever born anew into the world, and with it too, the Arisen. All Arisen seek out the dragon, but lucky are the few who attain an audience with the beast, while yet they live. Ours is a weak, fragile world, and little within it is more frail than man. In yon encampment they gather up their knights and hired steel. They think to grow their numbers and hunt the dragon. But they shall soon learn their lot will e'er be as prey.
Ooh, spooky. Very foreboding. We don't know that guy's deal yet. And I'm not going to spoil anything story-wise. I'm simply going to explain game mechanics. But yes, spooky, foreboding. That's exactly what that guy's going for. Bitter Black Isle is the DLC, so we won't be messing with that. Oh, we can't go in here because it's nighttime. The shop is closed.
Gives me chills just to think of it. I was. I make no excuse, cousin. I hid in well for fear of the dragon. Let me tell you this. You'd be wise to keep your distance from that pit. I was too craven to venture far. And lucky thing, a queer growl echoed back with the sound of water from further in. There's aught down there. Mark my words. I could feel it, I could. You not see me going back down there. What? You mean to go down there? You're a right hero. Here, if you're set on going, take this with you. It should have some use to it left. I'll not soon forget your bravery, cousin. Pray, just come back alive.
So I got a lantern from that guy, which is good because I was short one. Oh, this is the DLC lady. We're not going to bother with her. We are going to come into the inn.
This is a fine fortune you've come into. Come to Grand Soren with riches in mind. Instead, find only cravens cowed by...
Business, what can I do you for? I can now.
Oh, wait. So this is...
Oh, and of course you know me. I come here now and again to restock my wares. You do recall me, yes? Madeline? Finest peddler in all Grancis? Ravishing beauty of legend and song? Madeline. Well, no matter. I've bigger problems. These are dark days, so terrible as to drive even I to the brink of tears. And yet, just when I need the aid of one both clever and strong, you arrive. Truly, fortune means us to partner together. Don't you agree? Only a fool could mistake the thread of destiny what links us. You will be my savior true, and after me, the world entire. And with that, we must be off. I trust you know of the encampment outside the village.
So she would like us to escort her back to the encampment we just were at.
You see me there safely.
Not a problem. Completing this quest unlocks the next set of inn quests, I believe. I believe this is the trigger. So the reason we did the inn initially at night is because now when we're doing this, it's approaching daytime. So we're going to be doing this walk when there's not a whole lot of monsters because the sun is rising and there's also not a whole lot of people. The reason I do this is this chick that we're escorting is extremely easily distracted.
Now there's a fine treat.
And the fewer things on the road, the better for her. So we're just trying to walk up to that encampment. Not quite sure why she couldn't make this trip by herself.
Hold a moment. There's art here.
So she found something on the ground and she wants to stop and grab it. Ah, gold. So now we're stopping again.
Now there's a fine treat.
Now there's a fine treat. The thought is if you do this at night, if you do the quest line normally, this would be something you do at night. However, we are doing it at a somewhat optimal time for her to just kind of wander aimlessly. I would normally be fighting goblins and stuff right now. Or just wandering around in the dark. Which is not fun.
Perhaps we'll find ore among the crags that litter this place.
That having been said, if I chose an assassin class, I would get bonuses for being out at night. Which means that would be the time that I want to go out. When I can sneak up on things.
The Duke could stand to commission some new roads.
Okay, I'm going to keep an eye on her to make sure she doesn't wander.
Well sturdy, this place.
And all thanks
I have
goes
some
to
in my
your
eye.
fine work. We'd best be inside, don't you think?
Don't you think?
This may sound untoward, but have you aught in the way of coin? Please, I must make for the capital, but times are dark and my purse light. It's a terrible curse being poor. Times are it takes all I have just to keep the tears back. Will you spare some gold? I would repay you.
Generally, I would say no to these kind of NPCs. This is screams of suspect. However, I know for a fact that offering her this gold now just makes her more charitable as a vendor, and she becomes a salesman and sells some really good items later. Not to mention, we have 320,000 gold right now. Giving her 1,000 is not a problem.
I am so very much in love with you at this moment. A woman's heart is a dangerous creature, but you know well how to tame it. Oft has it been said, a poor life is a happy one. I have never found this to be true. If ever fortune sees you to Grand Soren and me to setting up my shop, you must come visit. I shall even give you a discount. A small one. You'll find naught but the finest wares.
Okay, so we get a bunch of XP for escorting her, as well as a decent amount of a decent discount. That will come in handy. These baleful nails are really good items. We still want to go back and buy Lauren some equipment.
You'll find naught but the finest.
But doing this now allows us to go buy said equipment and complete one last quest before we leave. If you notice, Lauren's vocation rank just went up as well, meaning she is a better warrior. It will not affect her ability to be a two-handed weapon user, which is what she will eventually become. She's eventually going to use a big-ass hammer or sword or whatever. And those characters have some really interesting attacks. Not only are they some of the strongest single-hit characters in the game, but she'll get abilities like Springboard, where she can hold her sword up above her head like this, and I can run up and jump off of it onto a creature and get a head start maybe on something tall or something of that nature. It's really interesting how the team-based skills work in this game. You're definitely going to see her grabbing and holding enemies while the mage or I pepper them from afar.
What's this about the pawns? Can't say as I favor their lot much. I only wish I had more to...
So we're going to buy equipment for Lauren. Give her a trusty sword and a good shield. We're not so concerned about her carrying weight because she's not going to be doing a lot of climbing. And the AI is usually pretty good about managing their own skills. So we generally just want the best stats out of her equipment. $182, that's good. Okay. All right, so there you are at the start. This is your most basic. We have do we have a helmet? And no, we don't. Okay.
I only wish
So we're gonna sell off Lauren's items because, again, carrying extra isn't really in her interest because it's just gonna decrease her stamina regeneration, which is going to determine the amount of skill she can cast. And we're going to want her, you know, constantly doing those big-ass swings that are going to be indicative of her class. So, oh, there's not what we can do here. Okay. Not a problem then. So let's go down here and do this little sewer quest. This is probably going to be the last thing I do on stream. It is getting rather late. But if you recall, we have a quest for killing 7 rats. That is something we can most definitely do while we're here.
Which way should we go, Arisen? I'll take that. The leftward path bears the stink of death. It will be easier going searching this area.
So what she's saying is, if you heard Lauren say, it will be easier going searching this area now. That basically means that if somebody else were to summon her, and I know I probably sound like a broken record at this point, but if somebody else were to summon her, and they were to take her to this area, she would say, oh, to the left is this, you know, or maybe there's danger to the right. Okay, so this is the hissing in water that this guy was talking about earlier. This is actually a relatively difficult fight at this point in the game. We're going to try to give it a shot. These guys take a bunch of additional damage once their tail is knocked off. Their tail tends to want to fight you. And believe it or not, it doesn't want to get cut off. Alright. If you're lucky enough to get a fire enchantment out of Rook, you can generally make somewhat short work of these guys. If they're not fans of fire. And they generally tend to roll around long enough for you to get their tail. We're actually getting some really good level ups. When you level up, you get a full heal. And again, like I said, this is normally a very difficult fight. So the fact that we're getting all these level ups means that we don't really have to worry about our health much. This is probably the cleanest Saurian fight I've had in a while. That having been said, it's far from over. I just took a huge hit right there. So Rook should be trying to heal me any second. There we go. That green symbol means he's channeling a spell on me. Here, your character just yelled, "Taste my wrath, reptile." We're fighting big lizard creatures. I thought you'd find that funny that your character's talking shit. Okay. So yeah, if you notice, I've learned new techniques against that foes. They block frontal assault. These are all hints she's going to give. These are all hints that she is going to give future players with something. It's a very, very interesting mechanic. It is a huge shame that a game that has these kind of combat or group-based combat techniques isn't co-op. I would love to play this game with others. But unfortunately, it's just not in the cards. Is that all of them? Is there another one? Let's just grab all this stuff. We got some equipment, a healer's robe. I'm gonna have Lauren hold it. She's gonna kind of be, because her equipment weight isn't so much of a concern as mine, she's gonna kind of be a pack mule for a lot of items. Simply by virtue of her not really receiving much of a penalty. Oh, dang it. There are little snakes here is why I dodged through. So I pushed this door open simply because it's locked from the other side.
Stop with the weakness.
Okay, cool.
I'll take that.
So that was our first taste of bandits. If you notice, halfway through that fight, Lauren grabbed one in a full Nelson, and it took a ton of damage from my strike, and that is no accident. When she decides to grab one, it will take plenty of bonus damage from the subsequent attacks. It's a very, very viable strategy. And there's definitely something to be said about having somebody that's focusing crowd control like that. We don't really need to go any further in this dungeon at the moment. It really just lets out just past that fort where we found pawns and fought the dragon. Or the gargoyle. I wonder why this guy's back. Yeah, so now that she's aware of their weaknesses, she's doing what's called shield summons. When she's banging her shield and she's kind of taunting it to attack her. Serves as a taunt, much like any other in any game. But if you'll notice, when she did it, she said, "I'll serve as bait, strike the tail." Despite the fact that that was AI, she did that ability with intent, gave us an instruction that was combat effective. So the pawns definitely learn and definitely grow in this game, and it is a really, really interesting system. I can't stress it enough. A lot of people give the pawns a lot of flack because they talk a lot, and they do. I mean, you're gonna hear say, you know, goblins are weak to fire 100 times in this playthrough, and it will get a little bit old. But when it's at its best, or you know, during fights like that, and when it's good, it's really good.
It was my hiding in the well what brought the danger to light. I take no credit, mind. I simply feared I'd be blamed for releasing monsters upon the village for having opened up the well. 'Tis a relief in all you're doing, cuz. Here, I owe you at least this much for all you've done. I shall strive to learn from your example. Commit myself to becoming a soldier fit to defend the land and its people. Honest.
Honest. Alright. Hit another level, gain some more XP. Lauren's level 8. It's basically we have... Is that the trigger for? Nope. We don't have any other items, do we? No, okay. So no, my equipment load's still very light, so I'm still just fine there. So we're good. We are good.
Oh, hello.
Nothing to sell. So basically at this point, I am just going to head to the camp. That's the only place I know to go. And so we'll just head back there for now.
We share these roads with traveling peddlers, guardsmen, and other folk.
It is kind of cool for immersion when the pawns talk, just make small talk with you. You know, as obvious as it is, the roads are safer in the brush, but still we best be wary. It is kind of cool that your characters and your party are alive in that way. They feel very organic. And I do want to commend the game, because I don't think anything else has really done this to this extent. Which is crazy, because this is not a new game by any stretch of the imagination. It did just get released on the re-released on the Nintendo Switch. This is not that version, unfortunately. But that's kind of the reason I thought to pick this game back up, is that it's getting re-released. So definitely time to revisit this fantastic title. Fantastic title. So I think what I'm going to look for is I'm going to look for some passive benefits for Lauren and I.
What will it be today?
So now I'm getting more specialized abilities. Since I'm a 3rd rank, I'm getting things like Toss and Trigger. This can only be used by Striders. If I were to level up into a different vocation like a Ranger, I couldn't use this. Maybe. I say that, but I'm actually not 100% positive. So the core skills... Oh, augments. These are what I'm looking for. Core skills are simply for daggers, and they're equipped automatically. So I'm actually going to save my points. Because I don't think there's anything I want a lot of. Ensnare is fun, but there's nothing that a magic archer can use. They have a pretty unique skill set, so honestly, if you're playing as a hybrid class, magic archer, magic knight, or assassin, well, I guess magic archer or magic knight, you generally just kind of want to save your points, get the new class as quickly as possible, and then focus that. Lauren is going to... Now again, I'm as great as these skills are, I'm going to be looking for these passives. Extends the limit of your health. This is fantastic. I'm going to get this for her. And I think that's all I'm going to get for now. Okay, so I'm going to set her skills. She's going to have more health. And the thought is, as soon as we get to Grand Soren, which is the major hub of the game, you are going to be able to upgrade our attack or our classes almost immediately. So let's see what the situation is around here.
I am Mercedes. I lead the men of the enlistment corps.
Mercedes.
I've heard talk of the Arisen. They say you hold dominion over the pawns. I've ordered pawns to take up swords and fight myself. But they are a clumsy lot. I cannot call them into this world as you do, though, nor make traveling companions of them. What manner of magic lets you command them so? Well, it matters not. The dragon is come. I'll welcome any help, be it pawn, arisen, farmer, or fishwife. Make use of the encampment as you please. Are you in need of rest?
Yeah, sure, let's rest.
Repose is the better part of readiness.
Oh, big old snake. Alright. Let's focus on this head. So I'm just slashing at the neck over and over. I'm hoping this does a thing. Is that the head I was fighting earlier? This is so it's not a fan. Okay, cool. Severed one of its heads. Got it. That is, if you didn't notice, that's the same symbol we saw on the Cyclops' forehead.
Oh, be damned! This your handiwork? For truth? Oh, what did the lack of an Hydra doing here anyway?
Ancient tales of the Arisen are well and good, friend. But make a gift of these heads to the Duke, and you might earn yourself a real title.
A real title.
Arisen. I see better now from whence the legends arose. With judgment, swift footwork. Impressive, truly. In any case, the Duke will want to know of this attack. I'd hoped to gather a larger force before leaving for the capital, but the Hydra's head and the Arisen who claimed it make up the difference amply. I cannot say what the pass may hold. You'll need your strength. It will be slow going with a cart. I dare say you'll have no trouble catching up. We'll meet at the Way Castle. Till then, I bid you rest well. 'Tis a long road ahead.
Okay, so what? Oh, gain quest knowledge. That is, in so few words, her way of saying, I'll tell the next player to jump on its neck and slash at the neck. So what we're gonna do before we call it on the stream is we're going to go into the Riftstone, and I'm going to show you the pawn summoning mechanic. It is a pretty integral part of party composition, and it will definitely be a thing that we see frequently throughout the course of this game. So Rook was level 6 because I was level 6 when I got him. He does not level up with me, which means at this point he is under-leveled.
Is everything in order?
So we need to release him.
May I pawn?
At no point are you supposed to get attached to a pawn, with the minor exception of your own. Because they are supposed to be, you know, something you pick up when you need and then get rid of. So what I'm looking for now is I'm looking for a mage that has offensive spells and a mage that has exclusively heals. An exclusively healing mage is going to cast that often. So let's see if this, what spells this mage knows. Anodyne, and that's just a healing spell. And ice damage. That's perfect. That's all we need. That's going to be a great healer.
Yes, Arisen.
Let's view these details. This is a healer with fire. We can do that. They cover both of the bases with fire and ice as far as damage is concerned. Lauren and I deal ample physical damage at this time. This should be a decent party. 2 people that can heal and also deal a little bit of elemental damage. So we're going to exit the rift. And these 2 that we just summoned are going to be along for the ride. So this is our party. Me, Lauren, Pecan, and Adina. 2 mage healers, tanky ass fighter, and me, the strider.
Strange power
This is how we're gonna move on. I'm gonna leave it here for the evening, and I'm gonna try to upload this directly to YouTube after this and see exactly how well that works. With any luck, it won't give me too much trouble, and it should upload relatively quickly. That having been said, I do appreciate you watching. I'm going to save real quick so that I don't forget. Turn to the title screen. So I appreciate you tuning in, and I appreciate your input. If you have any questions, definitely feel free to ask on future streams or in the YouTube comment section. So again, thank you very much for watching, and take care.